Hi and welcome to Stories from My Drinking Days. My name's Harry Fell and I'm the founder of No Low Cocktails and Bars. Joining me today is Colette Malcolm from Mind Over Mama. Sorry, I can't even speak now. Hi, welcome Colette. How are you?
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm really good, thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you for being here. So do you want to start off by telling us a bit about do you remember your first drink and how you started drinking?
Not specifically the very first, but the time period. Yeah, I was probably about 11 or 12, if I'm honest. And it was just drinking with friends over a park, getting drunk, like most kids my age were doing then. But it escalated very quickly. And I think looking back on it, I kind of see that I definitely drank more than all my friends then. But I never really realised it at the time. I was the last man standing. It was wanted to drink the most amount of alcohol. If I wasn't being sick at the end, then it wasn't a good night, so to speak. So yeah, I had not a great relationship with alcohol from a very young age.
Yeah. And so did that develop over time?
It got, I guess it got worse. There was lots of like binge drinking at weekends. We literally would go out on a Friday, like I say, go out. I was too young to go out clubbing, and I looked too young. I couldn't even get into clubs before until I was 18. But I'd go around friends' house or go to the park and just drink, and that was like every single Friday and Saturday. Feeling rubbish on Sundays, and occasionally it would creep into like in the middle of the week as well. And then it definitely got worse in my adult years. I actually, ironically, started working in nightclubs. Ended up working my way up to be retail manager in a nightclub, but I started off doing like promos, on the streets, giving out the flyers and getting people in. So it was very normal to start that shift with a can of Red Bull, but tipping a bit out and putting some vodka in there and walking around the streets. That was just normal behavior. And then finishing that shift, going on the bars, having all the drinks from people, and just basically ending the shift drunk. But everyone was doing it, so it was normal. And then that definitely got worse when I was a manager. It's quite bad we're looking back on it now, really, but I'd be cashing up tills. Hopefully there's no bosses watching this, but yeah, I was cashing up tills with like thousands of pounds worth of like money, like £1,000 worth of money, like drunk. Like, I don't know how I was actually functioning doing my job, because I was drunk most days. Like it was quite bad.
Yeah, it probably shows actually how amazing you would have been if you hadn't been drunk. So you managed to do it and keep your job, and
Yeah, people use the term, don't they, like, high functioning, like high function alcoholic. And I guess looking back up, like that's what I was. I never thought that I had a problem. I didn't at all. If anyone ever said to me, your drinking's out of control, I'll just laugh it off. It was, I just basically say to them, you're just jealous because you can't drink as much as me. Like it was their problem. It wasn't my problem. I thought it was a great thing to be able to drink a bloke under the table. Like I was like, yeah, I can drink more than you. And actually looking back, that's not something to be proud of, but I was proud of it at the time. And honestly, I don't know how I managed to hold down jobs, to be honest. I did leave nightclubs eventually, and not really because of the drinking, just because it just wasn't really for me, like all the late nights and not seeing any friends and family and stuff. And I started working in care. And when I did that job, I obviously didn't drink all the time then because of work, but on any time I had off, like I drank, and I probably drank my week's worth in like, 1 or 2 days. So I was very much a heavy binge drinker, very heavy binge drinker.
Yeah. And so what made you stop drinking, or what made you realize that you had a problem with alcohol?
So I think I kind of started realizing during I was married and I got divorced, and when I got divorced, I kind of I hit depression, and I drank really heavily during depression, and it got to the point really where like I ended up with like suicidal thoughts. And looking back on that now, most of those happened when I was heavily drinking, and obviously alcohol is a depressant, which we don't really talk about, but now I look back, I'm like, I can see like those are the times when I was at my darkest and lowest, was the times when I just had like a binge. So I went for this really, really crazy time when I kind of maybe knew drinking wasn't serving me, but then I also couldn't stop because I wasn't feeling great. So I was stuck in this crazy cycle. And then I had counselling and antidepressants, and I didn't drink as much, but I was still drinking. And then obviously COVID hit, and then it was like, drinking every day, creeped back in very, very easily. And then I fell pregnant. And honestly, the day I fell pregnant, I stopped drinking. I just fell out with my son's dad the night before I found out I was pregnant. So I'd been drinking with my friends, you know, moaning about him as you do. And something in the morning just said to me, like, you need to do a pregnancy test. And I've got my friend to drive over a pregnancy test. I did one, I found out I was pregnant, and I was like, oh my God. And in that instant, I stopped drinking. I also stopped smoking because I smoked as well. And I didn't even have to think about it. There was no cravings, no nothing. I wasn't tempted to drink at all during that pregnancy. And during that pregnancy, I really used that time to really work on myself, like raise my self-love game. Like start prioritizing me. And I also did a coaching diploma whilst being pregnant, because I just thought I haven't got enough things to do. But I kind of knew that I wanted to help other people. So it's kind of like, I knew that going through all the stuff that I've been through and coming out the other side, I knew that I could like give back. And I just really used that time like productively. So that's what I did. And it also really heightened like my spiritual connection, because I don't know whether you've heard, but like lots of people say that when you drink alcohol, it kind of like dulls the third eye, so it kind of like limits your senses to like the spiritual world. And I really believe in that, because like during that period when I was pregnant, I started like kind of like having visions and seeing things, and even my son's name came to me in like a weird like spiritual way, and it was really interesting to get into that. But then after I had my son, me and his dad split up when he was like 6 months, and I started drinking again, not around him, but when on the weekends when my son went to his dad's house. And I could feel myself slipping back into that kind of that crazy drinking again. And whilst I wasn't drinking around him, I would be hungover when he come back, and I could feel that was having like a negative impact on my parenting. And I kind of just had to like check myself and just think, you know what, like I don't want to be this person. And I think the thing what stuck in my head was my mum's an alcoholic, which is probably where a lot of my drinking stems from. And my memories are all just around drink. And that was a big thing flashing in my head, is like, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that parent. And I just decided that, you know, I have to stop. I didn't want to be in that same situation, because she had like a terrible time and the stuff gone on in that. And I just knew alcohol wasn't serving me, and that was not the place for me to go. So I decided that, I wanted to go sober, but it wasn't as easy as what I thought, especially because of having 9 months off so easy. I thought, yeah, I can just stop. But it wasn't like that at all. It wasn't.
No. So what do you think made the difference between the two times? Do you think it was the fact that you had more motivation when you were pregnant to stop, or do you think it was your body's reaction as well to alcohol that maybe helped you?
I think it was just knowing that I had a baby inside me, and I didn't want to poison that baby effectively. Like it was like a very instant thing. Like I said, literally, I had drinking that morning. I found out I was pregnant, and like my plan was like carrying drinking with my friends. And the minute I found out that, I was like, said to my friend, "Have this drink." Like that's like unheard of for me to give away drink to somebody. I'm just like, you're not having it. But yeah, I gave her my cigarettes, I gave her my drink, and I was just like, it was just a very just strong like inner feeling to like just stop. And like I said, not even any temptation during that time period as well. Yeah. Which I know some people do struggle during that time, and I get it. I'm not like judging anyone, but I don't know, for me, I just the thought of doing anything like that when I had a baby inside of me, I couldn't do it.
Yeah. And so doing it when you weren't pregnant then, how was that different, and how did you find that so much harder?
I really struggled. I think like the first time, like I didn't tell anybody the first time, which I think was part of the problem. So I didn't tell anybody. So that's almost like giving myself a green light to drink again, because no one around me knew I was pregnant. Like, no, not pregnant. No one around me knew I was sober. So it didn't matter whether I drank or not, because like no one knew. And I found it hard. Like the cravings were like quite intense, or, you know, just the excuses, you know, if I've had a bit of a bad day, just have a drink, treat yourself with a drink. I've achieved something in business, treat myself with a drink. It was just all these excuses. It was like, oh, go on, just drink. It took me 4 attempts in the end for it to stick. And on the last attempt, I remember like that night was really bad. I drank and I'd walk to the shops to get more drunk. And where I live, it's quite dangerous, because it's like you have to walk through an alley and it's pitch black and all the rest of it to get to the shops. But I didn't care, because all I could focus on was the alcohol. And I came back and I felt sick, but I still drank. And then just midway through that bottle of wine, I was just something just came over me. It was like you have to stop right now. Like you have to. And I poured the drink down the sink. I went to bed, and I haven't looked back since that day. But it was tough. I didn't actually think I would be able to stop, if I'm honest. I really didn't.
Yeah. And so now you're 11 months in?
So literally I'm 6 days off a year.
Wow. Well done. You must
you.
feel really, really proud of yourself for doing that.
Yeah, it's been emotional because I think I've drank like for nearly 30 years pretty much, and like, you know, put myself in some really dangerous situations, done some stupid things, fell out with people for like stupid reasons, and to get to this point now, I never thought that I'd be able to get to, is just, yeah, like, it's amazing. There's been a lot of tears, especially this past month, because like it's just like a big healing journey, like forgiveness for myself and other people around me. And yeah, it's been tough, but it's been amazing because I've gone on to achieve like amazing things that I didn't think was possible, and I put it down to not drinking alcohol.
Yeah. So we'll come back to all the things that you've achieved, but what do you think helped with making this stick? Was there anything that you found really helped you?
Yeah, so telling everybody, making sure everyone around me knew, whether they wanted to hear it or not, I'm sober. I tell everybody, it's probably one of the first things that I say to people. So I told everybody. I set up a sober Instagram page. So I think that was really instrumental as well. So posting on there and daily, or at least just reading other people's stories and support, that really helped. And I journal. I've always journaled anyway, but I've been journaling heavily, and really, if I've had any cravings or anything, really digging into like, you know, what's going on, like what's triggering me. And I really knuckle down on my reason why, you know, like that not wanting to be a bad mom, wanting to, like, you know, love myself and put me first. And just really stuck to it, like really consistently, and planning ahead really as well, because, you know, right before the Christmas period is not a time when most people tend to give up. Normally it's after Christmas and it's the new year. And there was part of me in my head that was like, yeah, you know, just carry on. You can carry on drinking and then you can start in January. But I just thought no, because I just turned 40 in like the November before I quit, and my plan was to stop drinking then, but I gave myself the green light because it was my 40th. And it got to the 11th of December, and I thought, if I don't stop now, I'm never going to stop. There'll always be another excuse. So I just had to just say it's now or it's never, and that was it. I just had to be really, really focused,
Yeah. So what do you tend to drink now if you fancy something nice?
I don't drink so much alcohol-free stuff now. I do drink some stuff. So if I do, maybe like, I tend to go for beers quite a lot. Some like the craft stuff. Alcohol-free cocktails if I'm out occasionally, but not all the time. But in the beginning, anything and everything, because in the beginning, alcohol-free stuff for me was like a lifesaver. Like if I felt tempted, that was my go-to. And I know for some people that can be the trigger for them to drink again, but for me, it stopped me from drinking, because just having that taste was enough to take the edge off and kind of make me feel like, you know, okay, that's enough. I don't need to drink. Like I lived off alcohol-free Prosecco in the beginning, like, but I can't stand it now. but in the beginning, like, because that was one of my go-tos when I drank alcohol. But now, not so much. But yeah, I mean, I've really become highly addicted. I will call it an addiction to tea, to not normal tea, but like all different teas, different green teas, and like all herbal teas. My cupboard is overflowing. Yeah, that's like my big drink right now.
Yeah, well, that is a lot healthier than alcohol. So you know, yeah, you can afford to do that.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's much cheaper as well, I'm sure, than what you were spending on alcohol. So
most definitely is.
Yeah, brilliant. So tell us about all the things that you've managed to achieve since you gave up drinking then almost a year ago, that you don't think you would have achieved when you were drinking.
So yeah, I've been co-author in 2 book collaborations, which I never planned to write a book. So at the beginning of the year, I planned to create my own journal. That was my plan. And then I got asked to co-author on a book collaboration, and I did it, and it just sparked something inside me. I thought, oh, I've got stuff inside me to write. So I wrote my own book. So I did that, and it's just really full of like all my kind of top tips to help you like up your self-love game. It's called like A Little Hug From Me to You, because I just found when I was on my like kind of like journey with mental health, I needed like these little tips and someone to like just give me just this little like nudge to say, you know, things will be okay and this is what you need to do. So I did that. I've become attuned to Rose Reiki, and that's really kind of transformed what I do. So rather than just doing coaching now, I kind of lead in with the Rose Reiki first, because it kind of goes in with like the inner healing and like raises that self-love and self-worth, and then it kind of peels back that layer and helps people open up more, ready for like coaching and stuff. So I've done that, which I didn't think was possible. I've gone on to book a Disney holiday for me and the kids, which never would have been possible before, because that money would have 100% gone on alcohol, like 100%. And I've been a guest speaker in like a MIB event as well. So all these things would not have been possible at all during like alcohol, because I launched my business after having my son, but I never achieved as much as I wanted to achieve because of drinking. Like, and I'll say right now that I was like on some training call sometimes with a mug, but really in the mug there would have been alcohol. That's what I was doing like in the beginning. So to kind of go from that to now where like, I'm focused, like I actually want to do stuff. It has been life-changing, really. It really has.
Brilliant. And so how are you planning on celebrating your 1 year soberversary?
Yeah, I haven't actually thought of anything yet. Well, no, I've got one thing. So I've had a bag printed with like my sober date on, because I saw someone else do it in the sober community. So a little tote bag. So I have got that ready. So I've already treated myself to that. But in terms of doing something, I don't know at the minute. I'm not sure. I will do something though, because it definitely deserves a celebration.
Yeah, absolutely. Celebrate with a mug of tea.
Yeah, probably. Maybe it's a takeaway and a mug of tea and an early night. I mean, I love. That's it, early night. I love it. I love early nights. Like, I absolutely love them. Just like going to bed and actually sleeping and waking up feeling like, well, I'm going to say rested, but I've got a toddler, so as rested as you can.
Yeah,
but it's definitely an improvement on like waking up feeling hungover and like having a day ruined. So yeah, that's always a treat as well.
Yeah. Do you find that your relationship with your son's changed since you gave up alcohol as well?
Yeah, I've got more patience, because I know before my patience was definitely, it's like it's not there. I'm not saying, I wasn't a horrible mum, but I could definitely feel it, if he was doing something, or if he wanted to go somewhere and I didn't want to because I was tired, or, just feeling grumpy. And now, we go for walks around the local reservoir a lot, taking all the nature, enjoy stuff, and I just really enjoy spending time together. So yeah, massively, like it's made a huge difference. I know that if we would have carried on drinking, we wouldn't have the relationship we have now. Like, we wouldn't.
Yeah, brilliant. And have you found that your other relationships have changed? Are you hanging out with the same people, going out as much, or is your social life really changed as well?
So I'm still seeing the same kind of people. I'm probably not going out as much, but I think a lot of that's kind of started with COVID anyway. So that kind of already started shifting. But I have been doing stuff that I wasn't really sure I'd be able to do sober. So I went to a festival, took the kids to a festival, and that was like amazing. And it was amazing to have memories of the festival, because every other festival I've been to before, I do not remember them like at all, like not a single bit. I've been to a party, so like a daytime R&B party, and I was the only one dancing on tables, and I was the only one that was sober, and I was just like, you don't need a drink to have fun. My mates was like, what are you doing? I'm like, having fun. And I've been to comedy nights as well, so like I'm still doing all the stuff, if not more, and having like a much better time, I think, doing it, because I think a lot of people think you need alcohol to be confident or to dance and have fun, and whilst it might give you that in the very beginning, like it's going to end up ruining the night ultimately at the end. So I'm definitely enjoying life sober.
Yeah, brilliant, excellent. That's amazing. And I think a lot of people unfortunately do find that their friends change, so it's really nice that you've not found that. You must have some good friends that you've known a while.
Yeah. So like the girls who like from Wolverhampton, I used to work in clubs with them. So like we've known each other for like 20 years. They're all proud of me. I think most of them probably can't believe it, because like they've seen me in like all the worst states. And now I'm doing this, and they're good. And some of them, they ask if like, am I okay if they drink around me? I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Like, you can do whatever you want, but like I'm not drinking, and that's it. And I'm never gonna tell anyone not to drink, but I do want to like maybe raise a bit of more awareness about what you're actually drinking, and like make people maybe question kind of their drinking habits.
Yeah well, I think there was an article recently by Grace Dent that referred to the classic British drinker, which really resonated with me. So it's not, I never felt that I was an alcoholic, but I was definitely that classic British drinker where it's so ingrained in society, isn't it, that we drink a lot when we're out on a night out, that we just have that ingrained. Society almost expects us to drink.
And like I just had my birthday recently, and like my sister, she bought me a card, and she said she really struggled to buy me a card without any alcohol related things on there, because, and I'm like, yeah, that, because it is just literally everywhere right now. I literally just did a post the other day and just said, and I said, you don't need to drink the spirit to get into the Christmas spirit, because everything right now, especially this Christmas period, everyone's all really like, it's drink, and like that's like the normal thing to do, but you don't need to do that like at all to have fun. In fact, it's going to be better without it, and you'll save more money, and you'll have more happier memories as well.
Yeah, definitely remember more things. And not waste whole weekends hungover.
Yeah,
it's a huge advantage. So what's your plan now for the next year? And you've achieved so much in the last year since you gave up alcohol. What's the plans moving forward?
So my plan, one of my big plans for next year is I'm gonna hold a retreat. So I'm gonna do that. And it's not really like based around like sobriety, although I won't have any alcohol there. But it's just really, my kind of main focus is like helping mums to reconnect with themselves and love themselves more, and overcome any limiting beliefs and stuff. And I just feel I'm going to do a retreat that's really going to help with that. And I know there's lots of retreats around everywhere, but I think I'm going to do this after the summer holidays, so that time when everyone's all had that really tough time with all the kids and they're all really stressed, and then they've got something to look forward to at the end. So that's kind of the big goal that I'm working towards. And just continue with my rose reiki, continue with sobriety, and just like sharing the love and knowledge about both self-love and sobriety, because it's both super important. And I think they're both interlinked, because I know, like, for me to fully love myself, drinking doesn't add to that. So that's why I'm staying sober.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I'm sure you've inspired many people also to look at their drinking habits. And
100%.
Yeah, hopefully at least moderate, if not completely give up.
Yeah, because I talk about it quite openly. I've had quite a few people come into my inbox, like they don't want to comment on my post, and that's fine. I get it. It's a bit of like, there's a shame around like drinking, isn't there? Sometimes you drink too much, and people have come to me and they have like said like I've inspired them, and like, how did I stop and stuff, and that's good, because that's what I want. If I can help one person, then I'm winning if they can go on to help another person. So that's really what I want to do. I do have one other thing that's in the pipeline as well, is I want to write another book. Well, I've already started writing it actually, and that's really going to be covering like my relationship with alcohol from like childhood right to now as well. So that is in the pipeline as well.
Yeah, brilliant. And it's great you are modeling really good behaviors around alcohol and self-love for your children as well.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Yeah, because that's you have to like break the cycle. That's ultimately what I am. I'm a cycle breaker. I don't want it to repeat itself, and him to grow up like how I grew up, because it wasn't great at all.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, thank you ever so much for joining me, Colette. It's been lovely to speak to you. We'll put the links in the bio and in the show notes of how to get in touch with you and how to follow you either on Instagram or Facebook. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. And so you've been listening to Stories from My Drinking Days with me, Harry Fell, and Colette Malcolm. Thank you.